Test, everybody. Let me make sure everything is working on my end. Everything should be up and running. Just want to double check some things, y'all, and we're gonna get started. All right, we got it. Today. How y'all doing? Today we're gonna be discussing the world of Zaharoff. For those who not know, George Zaharoff is an individual within the fragrance community that started his own brand some time ago. Throughout this time, he has made numerous fragrances. So we're going to cut to the chase. Welcome to the Cipher. We're going to start breaking down all these fragrances, and then we're going to discuss his new release, which is Leather Tabac. Let me make sure I put my phone on silent. Let's go. Before we start, we're going to talk about my scent of the day. My scent of the day that I had today for the second time in a row was from Frederick Mall, and that was The Moon. For those of you who never tried Frederick Mall's The Moon, what you get here is a road, and I say oudish fragrance. I say oudish fragrance because, in my personal opinion, there's not real, I don't get real oud out of this. What I do is get what I call an oud accord. For those who don't know what accords are, things like leather, right? You can't extract natural oils from leather. So you have a leather accord, which has various different notes or synthetics to create the smell of leather. That's what I get out of this. I get a oud accord, which is dominated by cypriol. I get a very bright, rosy, yet jammy experience. The jamminess comes from the raspberry and some other berries in there. So slightly smoky from the frankincense that's in here. I get a nice leather accord, and I get this woody, earthy accord, which is supposed to represent oud, more like a Indian oud, which is a little bit more earthy, is how I would describe it. But if you're the type of person who don't like compliments, and you don't like to just have people stop up to you and ask you what you're wearing, just stay away from this. This is probably one of the most enchanting fragrances I have within my collection. And that's Frederick Mall's The Moon, 10 plus hours, 3 sprays. Now, because I'm gonna be trying some fragrances on today, I went on ahead and took a shower. So no residuals of smell. So when we crack open this new fragrance, which is Leather Tabac, still in the packaging, we can just get straight to it. I see y'all here in the comments, everybody talking. I'm going to be paying attention to really giving y'all the comments. At some point after I finish breaking down these fragrances, I'm going to give everybody opportunity. If you want to come on, I'm going to find a way, this is my first live, to pin the chat link in the comments so you can come on. We're going to talk about only the topic of today, and that's World of Zaharoff Fragrances. I'm not talking about anything behind me or what about this fragrance or that fragrance. I'm trying to keep it short and sweet. We're going to keep it for about an hour. We'll see how it goes, though, based on the engagement. Don't forget to hit those like buttons either. So let's start ranking the house, why don't we, right? So I'm going to go from my least favorite, which doesn't make it a bad fragrance, to my favorite fragrance currently, not mentioning Leather Tabac. Can y'all hear me okay? Oh, man, damn. I appreciate the super chat I see there, man. First super chat, I appreciate that. Can everybody hear me? Just give me a thumbs up. I want to make sure everything's going good. If I'm too loud, just let me know. Again, it's my first live. I'm working through all the kinks. I'm looking at the comments now. Good to see you too, brother. All right, well, let's just go ahead and get to it. I think hearing you all good. All right, let's just get straight to it. We're going to get to it, right? So my least favorite out the bunch, starting off at the bottom. I'm not even putting these in no numbers. Y'all will know by based on how I talk about them. It's a really good composition. I enjoyed this fragrance, but it's extremely personal. And it's, for me, it's somewhat one-dimensional, and not because of the way the fragrance transitions. It's because I feel like I can only wear this in high heat. It is extremely personal scent. It's good. If it had a little bit more beefiness to it, it would probably rank higher. And that's TOTG's first release, and that's Business Over Pleasure. Again, outstanding scent, Palo Santos in here. If you're into what I call the blonde woods, you have sandalwood, cedarwood, Palo Santo, and other I call blonde woods. You have this very meditative, very smooth composition. You got that buttery iris, and you have that bright bergamot. The opening is what I really enjoy out of it. But again, it sets extremely close to skin. It's non-offensive, but there are times I enjoy wearing this. What would those times be? So let's think about if I'm on a plane, right? If I'm on a plane, appreciate the super chat, John. If I'm on a plane, right, and I don't want to be the a-hole who's sitting beside somebody smelling like blue sapphire, right? That I will fill up the whole airplane if I put 3 sprays of that and walk into a plane. I want something that's just going to be pleasing, but I want to smell myself, right? This is one for that kind of event. You're about to go to bed and you just want to wear something like fresh out the shower. This is also a good fragrance for that. I like sleeping in it because of the Palo Santo. But again, I have to rank them. Something has to be in the bottom. Something's going to be in the top. And this is just how I rank this. So my least favorite is TLTG reviews, business over pleasure. Also, by the way, I never had curly fragrance, first fragrance, which I believe was called the Siren, I believe. And I also didn't have Brass and Soul, the first edition. So those aren't going to be ranked here. My next fragrance I'm gonna rank up. I probably should have counted this out, but you know, that's what happens when you're doing your first live, making the mistakes as you go and get better as you go. It's going to be the original signature pour on. This to me is extremely personal. This, I can see why George made this. This is very masculine, woody. Some people call this a fougere. I would call this more of an ambery woody scent. I wouldn't really call it a fougere because it has lavender. To me, this is something I want to smell in a candle. See another super chat. Appreciate that, fam. This is something I want to smell in a candle. Like if I had a Zen room, whenever I'm down on a personal level and I'm just not feeling myself or I'm not in the right mood, this is the fragrance I usually reach for. That doesn't mean that it's not a good signature scent fragrance, but based on everything else in the house, I find the other fragrances to be slightly better than this. Again, no fragrance is overly bad, but it all depends on how is your collection built. Think about that, right? So I have too many fragrances. If you're not planning on doing a YouTube channel, you don't need this many fragrance. I'm not going to be the one to tell you to buy everything coming out. Just don't be that person. I'm a firm believer in spending your money wisely based on your own personal needs. But this fragrance is one that there's times when I don't really want a loud, boisterous fragrance. I have enough of those. I like variety. But again, this is a personal scent. It's not a bad scent. On a scale of 1 to 10, I think when I did my full review on this, it was about a 6.5, 7-ish. And I still rank it at a 6.5, 7-ish. It's masculine, aromatic, woody, ambery, a very good scent. Now, this is when George, I feel like this was one of his second releases, is the next fragrance we're going to talk about. This is when I think he heard some of the people talk about the fact that the lavender, some people really wasn't into the lavender, especially if you're a younger gentleman. To me, the signature pour home is like 32 and up, depending on what kind of work you're doing. This fragrance, and this was a rough one on how I was going to rank this one, but this is signature noir. So with this one, I almost put it above the fragrance I'm gonna talk about next after this, but this one is taking signature pour home and taking that lavender aspect, making it darker and richer. This was very nostalgic to me, and that just bright, I believe, bergamots in the opening. This is very reminiscent to another fragrance I love, which I have on the table as well. And it's not the same, so I'm not saying they're clones, but it just gave me the same feeling. And that's YSL M7 Oud Absolute. So with this one, you have orange in the, I believe the myrrh is making it almost powdery, woody, ambery kind of feel to it. I get that same vibe with Signature Noir. Very easy to wear, great scent. I absolutely love this scent. But again, something has to be ranked here and here. And this was a tough one. And looking at my list here, I probably could rank this a little bit higher based on how I'm feeling. But for right now, Signature Noir is the next scent I like over Signature Pour Home. Let me actually count these out, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I have 11. So that's 11, 10. So that was number 9. So we're going to go into number 8. Now, number 8 is a funny fragrance, and I'm going to tell you a story. This fragrance was somewhat originally a slight letdown for me. And I'm going to get to it. It was a slight letdown for me. And maybe because based on everything that was released before it, gave me this extreme expectation. And I hate having expectations in fragrances because when your expectation is too high, generally speaking, the fragrance is somewhere in the middle because it's never as bad as you think, but it clearly wasn't as good as you wanted it to be. So it falls somewhere in the middle. And I wore a lot of this in the summer. I was like, this fragrance really needs heat. It's one-dimensional. And then I wore this recently in the wintertime and fall time. And I don't know if it's maceration, and I hate the whole batch code maceration thing in Fragcom. Like, does it really matter? But this just popped off of my skin in the wintertime. Now, I still wanted more out of it, but I'm learning to re-love this. So I ranked it higher than Signature Noir, and that's Citron. So with this fragrance, I wanted that first 15 minutes to last forever. What does that first 15 minutes consist of? If you ever had clementine, or think of clementine like a sweet tangerine, but it also has this lime kind of hits to it. It's limey, right? And it's sort of green. I got that out. I mean, it is so juicy in the opening. It just works for me. I can smell every bit from the rind, everything about the clementine in this because I eat a lot of them. Now, my problem is at the 10-minute mark, it falls off a complete cliff. Falls off. Like it doesn't even give me foreplay. It just runs away. It like it ends it. It was like a sex session, and you was like, oh, I'm done. And you was like, whoa, like I wanted more out of you. So it falls off a cliff. And what I get left with is, let me give you an example. Soccer mom hands. What I mean is that if you ever been like a soccer parent or you ever played sports and you had the soccer mom or the soccer dads, and they peeled all these oranges for the kids after the football game and put them in the bags, and how your hand would smell. The rind, the peel was very authentic smelling. It smells good, but that opening, it's just the fall off really hurt my heart. And I just wanted more, especially since I know George liked these dark ambery scents. I wanted more out of this. And another thing that was a little bit disappointing for me with this is he used almost the same dry down that he uses all the time in his fragrance, like that woody, woody kind of woody ambery thing. And I just wanted George like experiment a little bit more. If I had any criticism, get out your comfort zone, and he's going to get out of that as the fragrance grow. But like, get a little bit out your comfort zone and give us a different dry down. Because although you give us a different opening, that's like having your lady or whatever, your significant other for Valentine's Day about to give you, like, put on a nice, sexy outfit. But at the end of the day, it's the same sex you had 50 days. Like, come on, give me something else. And that's kind of what I get out of this. It's like, it's the same dry down. And if it's the same dry down as fragrances I always already have to an extent, it kind of becomes somewhat of a letdown. So if I had any criticism for George, it'd be like experiment more, especially with the dry down. The next fragrance. This is what I almost consider a true signature scent from the house. and this is Signature Royal X. To me, now this one is spicy, woody, aromatic. It has a brightness to it. I believe juniper's in here, just some it's bright, it's spicy, aromatic, woody. This is when I said, okay, because for some time I like Signature Noir, because I believe when it came out, it was around wintertime when this released. So Noir just had my number. But as I wore this, to me, this was the true first signature scent that, let's say, age like 25. I don't know if you're 20, 18-year-old man. I don't know if you're really wearing this. But if you're up, 25, you're at work. I mean, this is masculine. Now, I don't see women, if you want to wear this, wear what you want to wear. Men, wear what you want to wear. I have feminine fragrances behind, but this is a masculine scent. When I say something's masculine, I'm not saying that only a man can wear it. I'm saying it's a vibe. It is a feeling. And masculine and feminine are in fragrances because it's the energy that it gives off. To me, this is extremely masculine. Wear what you want to wear, but it has that business clean cut vibe. To me, I have received compliments on this, but it was more of like, you smell nice, you look nice, kind of business attire. It's not one of those I put on a fragrance, people gonna follow me around and want to smell it. I'm gonna be honest with you. But for me, look at the dent in this. And this isn't because I had to overspray it. This is just a really good signature scent. To me, the first signature scent from the house, the true signature scent that I love. 8 out of 10. Longevity, I was getting at least a solid 8 hours. Anybody in the comments, leave your experiences down below. But I'm gonna give y'all the opportunity to come on. The next fragrance is one of the newer releases. This baby is extremely intimate. It sets really close to skin. I don't even know if I would want this fragrance to be like loud or beefy, but I wish it was just a little bit more. But it's a great gourmand, very creamy. And this is the Immortals, I believe, is the name of it. Let me look so I can make sure I have the right name. Don't want to give y'all wrong names. I'm just going off the top of the head based on what I smell. I really don't care about notes. To me, it's about the experience. It's really not about the notes, because 90% of the time the fragrance is presented of the Immortals. That's the name of it. If it's presented really good and clean, you're really just going to get different accords and different vibes. You're not going to smell every single note. But with this one, what I get is like, I feel like when I smell this, I get like a latte drizzled with caramel, and I can smell the whipped cream. So this is very creamy, woody. This is extremely intimate. Now, does that make this a bad fragrance because of where I ranked it at? No, I just like the other fragrances more than I like this one. But this is the kind of fragrance you wear if you're a guy or a gal, where what should I say? When you're about to do some adult time and they come over, men, feel me on this. Ladies, just rock with me. Somebody coming over, right? So, you already got the house smelling really good. You've been cooking, right? She coming over for dinner because you just ain't going to do the do. You want to set it up, set the mood right. So you cooking, might have a little bit of music on, some jazz, something light, playing light, but you cooking, but you in your tank top, because you work out, you do a couple of push-ups, sit-ups, you in your tank top, you in your sweatpants, your gray sweatpants, making it do what it do. And when you come to the door, you like, oh, I'm not ready yet, but you got like a few sprays on your chest. Me, I'm like 6'3", right? So most women gonna fall somewhere in my chest frame. You spray a little on your chest, you give her a hug, because you want to greet her at the door, give her a hug. You don't want to seem like you too thirsty. You give her a hug, she smell you, she go, he smell good. But you ain't, you kind of be like, I smell good all the time, right? So then you say, oh man, well, go ahead and get yourself comfortable. I'm gonna go ahead and jump in the shower and change up, because you ain't gonna walk around in sweatpants all day. Those gonna come off later. And you're gonna go in the house, you're gonna get dressed up, right? This is the fragrance you wear when the whole time while she downstairs, she smell the aroma of the food and she remembers what you smell like. And that's going to be another rant for another live. Performance is extremely overrated. Once they smell you once, first impressions is everything. Once I smell that once, I want to smell it again. And if I can smell you from across the room, why do I need to get closer to you? We're going to start talking about the art of seduction on these lives because I got to put people on the game. All that overspraying, room filler, beast mode just doesn't, it's just not going to work for you. It just doesn't work. But, you know, by all means, do what works for you best. But this is a really good scent. Just don't expect it. And that's being honest. Expect it to be loud. Expect it to be a room filler. But those who smell you will be like, oh, you smell good. This is seduction. We're going to get into The Art of Seduction by Robert Greene. We'll get into that on another video. Next up, is this the fragrance that started it? I can't remember which came out first, but this is one of the fragrances. The next fragrance we're going to talk about is going to be, and we at 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. This is number 5. This is Tabac. Now, this fragrance, some of the things that this fragrance suffers from is the fact that there are so many great tobacco vanilla fragrances on the market, from Tom Ford's Tobacco Vanille to Harriet. I mean, we can go on with the just great tobacco fragrances on the market. And it could get lost in that. But this is like, I believe rum is in here. I don't really get the booziness. I wouldn't call this a boozy tobacco fragrance. That's just me. If you do, you're entitled to that. I'm just giving my opinion. My opinion isn't law. But what I get here is if you ever walked into a cigar shop and they're rolling like that fresh, not a burnt cigar, but that fresh rolled cigar leaf, like that tobacco leaf. But imagine it being infused with vanilla, some little bit of dried fruits, some spices, maybe a little bit of cinnamon, some cumin. This is good. Now, this to me, if I was going to compare it to anything or the type of tobacco fragrance it would fall into, I would say Tom Ford's Tobacco Vanille. It goes in that direction, but not quite. Which do I like better? I think Tobacco Vanille, I like it better. But that doesn't mean this is a bad fragrance, but it goes into that realm of tobacco, just very smooth. Think of a cigar, a very smooth, buttery. The word buttery also best describes this fragrance. It is a great tobacco fragrance. If you're somebody who enjoys supporting the house and you want a nice tobacco fragrance, very easy to wear, not brash, not harsh, because I got quite a few harsh, like really good tobacco fragrances. This is just buttery smooth. I think you can wear this in your 20. Longevity, over 8 hours. Pretty good performance. My scent trail in the winter, fall, just works a little bit better on this. I don't reach for this in the summertime as much, but early spring, I'll give this some burn as well. But that's my number 5. My number 4. Now, this fragrance is somewhat of, this could have been number 1 for me, right? But that's because I'm biased. If anybody knows me, I have a amber bias, I have a rose bias, and I have boozy bias. If you follow me on IG, you know I like fine spirits. So my boozy fragrances, I judge very harsh based on if it gives me the feeling of smelling a really good rum or whiskey or bourbon or cognac. Man, makes me want to go get a drink, but we ain't doing that on live. We got to be professional, right? But y'all can drink. But this is Signature Rosé. Now, this fragrance, let me tell you something. You want to talk about compliments. So I've worn this. Compliments through the roof. My ex-girlfriend wore this to a real estate gathering thing they were doing. She said she was getting complimented all night. Now, she wasn't really into fragrances, but she'd be like, hey, I want to wear something. What should I wear? I'll be like, wear this. You're going to kill them. She said all night, everybody kept asking what she was wearing, but she don't really know fragrances. She was like, I don't know, something my boyfriend told me to wear. Oh, man. But compliments all night long. She said she was receiving, and she is not a fragrance person. She was just like, what should I wear? And I said, hey, wear this. And she would wear it. This one is absurdly good. Longevity all day. So I get elements of a bright and warm rose. I love when you get those like jammy experiences, but yet citric experiences within a rose. And I get something that's almost like a rosé wine. If you ever have rosé and you can imagine closing your eyes and sniffing it, something very beautiful, very pretty. I would describe this fragrance as pretty, but then it has elements which I will put this into a class of fragrances coming up next. It has elements of like that myrrh and that woodiness, almost a churchy vibe is what I get from this fragrance. And it goes into the realm of like portrait of a lady without being portrait of a lady, but it's in the same vein. Is it redundant? No, not really. It depends on how you build in your collection. If you the type that want a really small collection, you only want like 2 rose fragrances and you have portrait of a lady, there's other rose fragrances that would take you in a whole other different place that I would probably recommend. But this could be my number one. But that's just because I'm biased. And I'm just gonna be honest with you. I'm not here to lie to you. But that's number 4. Now, my number 3. So you know my 1 and 2 gotta be good, right? So my number 3 blew me away when I first smelled it. And y'all know I don't be dropping videos like that. But when I smell something that's absolutely inspiring, that's when I say, you know what? I had to drop something. And also let me preference this with this video. All these fragrances were sent to me over the years. I'm gonna tell you something. George didn't ask me to do this video. I didn't have to do this video. And to be totally honest, I don't have to do any video about any of George fragrances, and he probably would still send me fragrances. Because he does it just because he appreciates other things that I talk about on my IG and things that I do for the community, or things, my opinions on certain things, the fact that I'll stand up. So I've out of the years I've had all these fragrances, I think I've only done a review on this fragrance I'm about to talk about in Signature Pour Homme. Any other fragrance on this list, I don't even think I put them on any list, actually. So take my opinion with a grain of salt, but I know Fragcom can be cynical. I understand why you could be cynical based on the totality of Fragcom. I'm not mad at you, but I need to put that out there because I'm a transparent person. Take it or leave it. This fragrance is Signature X. This is the fragrance that made me say, George, you get it now. This is the fragrance that didn't have a dry down of Signature Pour Homme. Although it gives a little bit of Signature Royal because it is Signature Royal X, this fragrance just took me in another direction. This fragrance, I said, if I took this out, forget the drama, and we're going to get into it when I start inviting y'all on, because I know people going to troll. Come on camera. I'm going to allow anybody to come on. We could talk about it, right? But we're going to talk about the fragrances. It's never going to be personal, right? And we're going to keep peace. At the end of the day, this is my house. Don't walk into my house with muddy shoes, right? But we can have a discussion about it. But this is the fragrance I said, if I took the juice out of this and I put this in the Fragrance du Bois bottle, people would go bananas over it. You know how I know? Hold on one second. So I have a list that I've been trying to do. I was going to give y'all my top 10 fragrances I enjoyed in 2022. We're going into February. If y'all still want that, I can do that video. But one of my favorite fragrances, I believe this is like probably my 3rd favorite fragrance I wore all of 2022, highly complimented from Fragrance du Bois, was London Oud. This fragrance, although top quality, as expensive as it is rather, in the grand scheme of it, is rather pedestrian. I'm gonna be honest with you, but it's good as hell. This fragrance, not to go into it because we're talking about George fragrances, reminds me of old school Acqua Essenziale. I mean, you're going to be transported to the 90s with this. You're straight to the 90s. Old school. I don't know what this new stuff is. I'm talking old school, and also old school Chanel Platinum Egoist. If you blended those together and it had a baby, it would be this. But it's pedestrian, right? I just told you two affordable designer scents, and this is like what, 400, 500 bucks or something? So I know for a fact if I put this in that bottle and sold it as some new fragrance, people would go bananas over it. What is this? I did a full review on it, so I'm not going to harp on it. It's animalistic. It is musky, very clean, almost like sweat. Now, if I say sweat and you say, ooh, funky, then my suggestion would be take a bath, drink more water, mind your business a little bit more, and have a good diet, because sweat doesn't necessarily stink. And this water, by the way, it doesn't stink. If that's the case, I mean, if you really putting in work in the bedroom, I mean, your bedroom smell like a locker room when you finish. I hope not. I hope it doesn't. But there's a very animalistic, just raunchy, just intense sexiness to this fragrance that I absolutely love. 8+ hours on this. I receive a couple of compliments. It's not a compliment beast, but I don't really care. I don't wear that for that. If I want compliments, I have other fragrances that just bang out and work. I did a full review on it. Check it out. This fragrance is when I said, okay, George, now you're getting out your comfort zone. My number 2 and my number 1. There's only a couple of fragrances left, so y'all already know what's going to be number 2 and number 1. And to me, deservedly so. I'm even looking at these fragrances right here, and I'm almost thinking about changing up the lineup, but I'm going to go with my feeling right at the moment. I almost want to call them both number 1. To me, this is, well, we'll see with this new fragrance that's dropped, but incredible releases. Smell just incredible. I mean, from quality to the way they transition to longevity to performance to scent trail to everything about these two fragrances, I'm head over heels for. Again, if I put them in another fragrance bottle, y'all would die over them. But my number 2 fragrance, just out of default, is going to be Second Soul. So let me explain this fragrance. Y'all take a second, if you have these fragrances, pull this out, because I'm going to paint a picture. Tell me if I'm the only one that catches this. So when I first sprayed this fragrance, I did a written review on Instagram. If you're not following me on Instagram, I'm sure the link will be in the bio. Follow me on Instagram. I was like, this smells like a barbershop fragrance. It started off like a barbershop fragrance. I was like, but there's no lavender in here. What's happening? And then after I wore this for like 5 times, it hit me why I thought it was a barbershop fragrance. It smells like shaving cream. Shaving cream. Like, it's very cold and cooling and minty, and that's coming from the cardamom. So cardamom can go in different ways. You can get something very green, which you get in like African leather I had back there, very green and spicy. Or you can get something that's extremely cooling, like I have with apple brandy on the rocks. A fragrance like Abercrombie and Fitch Fierce, a fragrance like Legend, Mont Blanc Legend, where it's almost cooling, like watery. You get that cooling, and it's a minty effect. If you haven't seen cardamom, I have some like regular cardamom samples. I tend to buy samples of singular notes so I can identify them as I smell them in fragrance. I'm kind of becoming a little geek like that. But I get that cooling effect. And if you ever had that like minty, fresh shaving cream, like whipping it around, that effect you get, I swear for goodness, I get that. If anybody else get it, somebody say shaving cream in the chat. That's what I got in the opening. And that was different, new, but it was very intriguing. It was a different take on a barbershop opening. But then around 30 minutes, it started going bananas. Good. Then it reminded me of a cocktail. The cardamom in here, fruity cocktail. The cardamom in here, and I believe juniper's in here, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me, but I feel like I'm getting like a juniper in here. So that cardamom cooling effect with the juniper adding this gin-like quality with the fruitiness gave me a nice fruity cocktail. I can imagine it in a tumbler glass. Again, this is water. And then I begin to smell mahogany woods. Think dark woods, smooth mahogany. It transported me to a social club, like something John Wick. You know how all assassins be in John Wick's, club, and they be drinking because they can't kill on the spot, like ain't nobody, I guess I shouldn't say the K word on live, right? But they can't do any hits on the spot, like, and how classy it is inside there with the leather seats is dimmed just right. A lot of business being conducted. You can smell almost the leather plush, just quality seats, and you can smell the mahogany wood in it. The dry down, come on, man. Again, when I smelt these next two fragrances, I immediately called Jordan. I said, "You get it." I said, "You arrived, George. You get it. You've arrived." Longevity. I stopped after 8 hours. I stopped counting. Generally speaking, when I'm at work, that's a 10-hour day. I'm driving an hour to and an hour from. So I put this on before I go to work. I come home, I can still smell it. That's 12 hours. That's on me. I don't know what it's going to do for you. But it could easily be number one. It just could. Yeah, it could. Great scent. I'm not even great scent. If you want something like, listen, I hate this term, and I'm about to say it just because most people, and I'll get into why I hate this term on another video, but niche quality, I hate the term of it. But sometimes you got to communicate with the people on how they communicate. And I consider George's fragrance a designer scent because he's a designer house because he just doesn't do fragrances, right? That's my definition. We'll get into that on another video. Second Soul can compete as a house fragrance, can compete with a lot of niche houses, in my personal opinion. I'm not going to harp on it because we moving on, but that thing is lovely. If you got Second Soul and you love it, type Second Soul in the chat. You already know what it is. My number one, and I love this fragrance. And for a while, it was a reason why I was triggered to love this fragrance. And again, after I wore it like 5-6 times, it started dawning on me like the familiarity of why I love this fragrance. But my number one is Evening Mystique. Now, because of this bottle and because I addressed it, some of y'all don't follow me on IG. We're gonna talk about it. One of the things with these fragrances is they put the plaques on by hand, so you're gonna have human error in some of these fragrances. And the only thing bad I have to say about this fragrance is my damn plaque is crooked. It is crooked, right? And that's a quality control issue. Other than that, I don't have anything bad to say about this fragrance. Okay, who's gonna love this fragrance? I can just because I'm gonna get into the familiarity of why I love this fragrance. Who's gonna love this fragrance? If you love fragrances, which I don't have a bottle of it, I've had a sample of it, of Christian Dior's Bois d'Argent. Just that woody, I believe that has a little bit of honey in it. It's iris, a little bit of smoke. It's very reminiscent of Bois d'Argent. It's very reminiscent to Van Cleef's and Arpels Bois d'Iris, which is very reminiscent of Bois d'Argent. The same kind of thing, iris, woody, resinous. This goes in the same realm, but this is beefy. Pause. 12 out. It performs. It goes and it goes. And going from this to this is a click. If you saw like, oh, Ross is doing this and it might be like this. No, nothing alike. And performance is nothing alike. This is smooth. This is the dry down, just that woody, smoky, resinous, ambery feel. In the opening, you get a little bit of herbaceousness. It's slightly bright. Oh my God. Listen, when I tested this fragrance, I got it from the post office. I put it on. I went to Ross's Instagram inbox and I started leaving him voice messages. That was like my true first impression. I was like, bro, you did it. You absolutely hit a home run. Yeah, man. Outside of quality control, this thing lasts for absolute ever, man. If you love water argent, but it's not as this is going to perform. Fall or autumn, winter, and early spring is going to work. Because it's so no, I'm not even gonna say probably. I wouldn't wear this in the summertime. I personally wouldn't. I would probably reach more for this because it's just lighter. It's more, it just flows a little bit more. Or I would wear something like Un Nuit Nomad Bohemian Soul, which is also very similar, but this is like extremely light. I would wear those like in the summertime, but that one, amazing. So that's how I rank it. For me, this is the best from the house. Well, for now. So we're gonna get into leather tobacco. Let's just get into it. That's what y'all came here for anyway. Get my first impressions, right? So I haven't looked at the notes because I don't really care about the notes per se. I care about the experience, but the notes. Collar, appreciate that. Appreciate that $20, brother. I appreciate the love y'all sending. Let me just go ahead and throw that on the floor. So if you're not used to Zaharoff Fragrances, you're gonna get. Let's see if I can do this a little bit good. Let's see if I know it's a lot of light in here. All right, so you're gonna get the box. Let's see. It's kind of going in and out of focus. All right, so get the box. Very nice. Even with the creators, the Z creators boxes, I don't feel like going up there and getting them at the top of the shelves, but very nice. It has a tobacco, says leather tobacco signature. Open it up. Again, my first time. Let's see. Let's make sure George ain't also giving me crooked plaques. Ross must have been high. Joking. If Ross, you in here, I'm joking with you, bro. Oh man. Okay. So very nice. It's like pleather. Is this like leather wrap? Oh man. Okay. Like I'm part of me is like, no, this is gonna smell good. So I'm trying to find a negative. I'm gonna be honest. That's how I look at stuff right off the break. Again, this is handcrafted. All right, George. This is petty, right? Let me be Mr. Petty. All right, like the back where you kind of like put it on there. It's a little bit off. All right, that's me being petty. But other than that, pretty centered. But if you care about that, some people are really sticklers. I don't have what's that thing where people need things perfect? I don't have that. But if you are that type of person who freaks out because things aren't where they supposed to be, that could bother you. So I'm gonna be honest with you. Check your bottles. However that sees fit. Me, I care about the juice, but I also don't want a raggedy bottle. I'm gonna be honest. So let's just get to it. I've been talking too much, right? Let's just get straight to it. Nothing on. First spray. Okay, I'm getting smoky leather, smoky birch. Just I ain't look at the. Oh man, it's like tar, birch. I'm getting birch. I'm not looking at the notes, but I guarantee you, birch or a heavy dose of labdanum. Heavy. I mean, I don't think it goes into the wash kind of overture. Overture is very that labdanum overture, man. It's like very but this is dark. This is really so you like people who don't like unisex scents, you like dark scents, you want a man scent. This is giving me man dark wintertime. Very, it's popping off the skin. A lot of you get smacked in the face with this smoky leather, but you're getting spice. Cumin, maybe some cinnamon in here, nutmeg, but you're getting hit with a warm spice, warm aromatic spice. Oh, but that tobacco's coming. Oh man, hold on. Let me get myself because this leather tobacco. Let me see what tobacco. Let me just see how similar or where it's going. Okay. So the butteriness of the tobacco is muted by, I mean, you getting smoky, masculine leather. Is it John Varvatos Dark Rebel Rider kind of leather? Um, yeah, man. This is, oh man. Like, if I was gonna do a dark fragrance list, just looking at the fragrances behind me, and I should do that list, but if I do that list, watch the video anyway, but I'm just gonna shoot off the top of the head. This would be on it. Tobacco Oud would be on it, or I have Tobacco Oud Intense. That would make it. Laudano Nero would make it. Because Laudano Nero, ambery, smoky, just ash though. That has that ash. Dark Rebel Rider. I can't think, but that's kind of what I would get here. This is okay. Where you gonna wear this to? I wouldn't wear this to work. This is a nighttime vibe. Very nighttime vibe. I mean, the only thing that would have just took this through the roof is, man, like throw me some whiskey in here. Tobacco leather whiskey. All right, that's my own thoughts. This is me. This is how I am when y'all not looking at me when I'm testing fragrances. But okay, the buttery. Slightly different. Not as vanillic, but it's not vanilla. It's richer. It's amber, but it's also velvety. Think of so I'm going through my mental Rolodex of fragrances. Think of honey. Think of honey. Because sometimes honey can be ambery, but when I think of amber, I'm like ambery fragrance. I think of like something like resinous, dark, almost gooey. This is almost like Naxos honey, but not as sweet. It's silky. It's dripping a little bit. Oh my. Oh, but now it made me appreciate the tobacco a little bit more. Tobacco might get bumped up another 3. And maybe I might just be feeling myself, but tobacco might go before signature X at this just because. All right, I'm gonna start having, in a few, I'm gonna start bringing y'all on, and we just gonna let this just dry down off a rip. Where would I put this? I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment. I do not want to be a prisoner of the moment. It's top 5. It's top 5. I think that's an easy thing to say, right? Top 5. What you put on there? Oh, praline in the base. I don't really get the praline as much. I get more of the honey. It's a little blending with this tobacco. I'm not getting that like sweet, almost because praline can almost to me come a little like toffee a little bit. And I'm personally not getting that, but we'll see what happens as we go on through the live, like what comes up. But I tell you what, that smoke, that opening smoke, dark richness is now simmering down. And we've what we in about 3-5 minutes within from the time I sprayed it on. So they're still different. So they're not necessarily like going straight to the original tobacco. It's still different. And the leather is very pronounced in here. Now the leather isn't as smoky. It's becoming, it's smooth, it's smoothing itself out. I mean, I think brown leather motorcycle jacket, but like not like rough leather, like leather that I'm gonna wear on an actual motorcycle. Think of like a designer, like a Gucci leather jacket, like very soft, like almost lambskin kind of leather, very smooth leather. But um, I'm getting brown. If I was gonna put a color to it, I'm getting like brown leather. Oh man. Oh yeah, this is gonna be my center tonight. Yeah. Okay. All right. I just gotta eliminate rose because I have a rose bias. Um, I think, man, I'm gonna be a prisoner of the moment. This might be the best thing he dropped so far, but I'm a prisoner. I think I might be a prisoner of the moment, right? Um, but this is good. Now, this I want to almost call this more of a tobacco with just a beefy leather. I don't know. I don't know if I want to be this is a leather fragrance or a tobacco fragrance because as it's drying down, I'm getting more tobacco, but the leather is still prominent. But I feel like the tobacco is really showing itself out. Round of applause. I like this. I like this, but I'm gonna give this some more wear. But this is a home run. This is a home run. If you like leather scents, if you like tobacco scents, this doesn't remind me of anything outside of it being similar a little bit to tobacco, which would make sense. But this is if I had a choice, so I think that's gonna be the next question. Well, what if you had a choice of tobacco or leather tobacco? I'm going leather tobacco just because, well, I like leather fragrances. If you hate leather fragrances, especially in that opening, it's really dark and mysterious, like guy in the corner, then just go with tobacco. Just go with tobacco. So that's kind of my monologue, but let's go ahead and get to the rules of the house, right? Because I'm gonna start letting y'all on. And when I say y'all on, I'm gonna let the people on. One thing I want to do with my lives that I see with a lot of different other lives is I'm just not gonna set up here and have a whole bunch of reviewers on, and we're just gonna talk all day and kiki or get into drama or what. Y'all just gonna watch us talk to each other. We ain't doing that. I want to bring the people on. I want to bring fans. I want to bring people who just love wearing fragrances and buying fragrances. But I have a caveat, right? Here's some of the rules of the house. We come in peace, we leave in peace, right? I'm not going to disrespect you. Don't disrespect me. Um, I want to be as peaceful as possible. Don't overtalk me because I'm gonna mute you or I'll boot you. It just is what it is. You're not going to just philander. If you are a troll, just understand, respect the rules. And we're going to talk about these fragrances. I'm not getting into it with George or Ross or Justin or Andrea. Like, if you got personal beef with those people, then you need to saddle up with those people, link up with them, and do what needs to be done, whatever that is. It's only going to end in two outcomes. Y'all going to talk it out, or y'all going to take it to another direction. Either way, that's not my problem. I don't care. I don't get into the cattiness, right? So we're going to leave the cattiness out of it. If you start going there, I'm going to check you. If you go there again, then we just going to have to peacefully go our separate ways, and that's fine. That's totally fine. I'm going to try to, I don't have any moderators, but let me read a couple of comments and see see what we got. See how I can pin this thing at the top. Let me I think I gotta go to YouTube. Just give me a second. I'm gonna pin the comment at the top, and we're gonna try to anybody wants to come on, then you have an opportunity to come on. Leave y'all comments, talk amongst yourselves. I'm not gonna take too long. We just go ahead and get this started really quick. Let me see how I can pin this comment. Okay. Figure out how to StreamYard this. I tell you what. I think Callie is in here. If somebody's in here on my TL, all right, you got me on it. All right, so Ross, so this is what I'm gonna do for you, bro. I'm gonna find a way. I'm gonna send you, because you was helping me out, kind of just walking me through some of this. I'm gonna send you the link for people to come on, and let's go ahead and get this thing started. Let me go to my messages. Let me find Ross. I think that's right. Ross, I sent the link. See if you can put that in there, and I'll try to find a way to tag it so we can. I want to talk to everybody, to be honest. Oh, we talked about Wave Musk. Yeah, man. Wave Musk is extremely. I just sent it to you on IG, Ross, and I'm looking at the comments on here, see if we can see if you can put the link in there. And again, hey man, anybody can come on. Hey, what's going on? What's up, Glenn? Anybody can come on. We can get to it. Don't forget, while we try to get this thing going, don't forget to hit the like button. That helps the channel out. We can get it moving. All right, Ross is on. Let me add him to the stream.
What's going on, man? I need to turn some lights on. Jesus.
Hey, can you let's get some. I want to, after me and you chat for a little while, because I don't just want to be the whole chat with just me and you going back and forth, and
No worries. So that link that you just sent to me, what you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to put it in the comments on YouTube, and then if you highlight the comment with your mouse, the 3 dots will pop up on the right, and you can pin that to the top of the chat.
All right, let me get this going.
Welcome to the YouTube streaming community.
Hey man, always have a lot to say. For those of you who don't follow me on IG, like I'm always with the smoke. Always with the smoke.
That man fears no fire, that's for sure.
And let me turn that volume down so that I don't get crazy.
Speaking of, my volume's okay. It's not too loud.
Yeah, no, I can hear you, brother. I can hear you loud and clear. Good. For everybody can hear Ross, let Ross know you can hear him. All right, I got chat.
I mean, I can paste it real quick if you want, and you could pin mine. It's up to you.
I think I might have it right now. Send, and then you said I got to do what? Now highlight it.
So you're just going to highlight it, and you'll see the 3 dots pop up on the right side, and when you click it, you'll have the option to pin message.
All right, so I'm pinned up.
Yep, there it is, pinned at the top. So I got 2 windows open. I got YouTube muted, and then I'm checking out StreamYard.
All right, and you can see the pin up there, right?
So there's a delay. So like what me and you are doing and seeing on StreamYard is like 10 seconds, 8 seconds ahead of when it's going to pop up on YouTube. So like literally what I'm saying, they won't hear for like 7 or 8 seconds.
All right, that works. That works. So when we talk about your thoughts, while I have you here, we could talk about Evening Mystique. Like I said, I'm gonna have you here just for a little bit, and you've always been supportive of the channel. You've been supportive of me as a person. So give you opportunity. What was your mindset going into Evening Mystique? Like what was your story? Where did you want to take it?
So when I built the story and the idea and premise for Business Over Pleasure, I always knew if I had the opportunity what I wanted to do, because two sides to the personality, the more conservative, professional side, then the more out there attention seeker, the more loud, brash, the guy you see on YouTube live streams and stuff like that.
Right.
That was going to be the other side. So I actually knew what I wanted to do with Evening Mystique before I even really got the green light to that we were doing it. So I actually started working ahead of the others, because the second George told me he was thinking about us doing it, I actually reached out to Claude to give him the heads up that, look, George is maybe going to let us do it again. Here's what I'm thinking, just so we could get on the same page. So because the first fragrance was so safe and versatile, I really wanted to step outside the box a little bit here, because I knew this was going to be a scent profile that nobody was really going to expect from me, because I'm known as the blue fragrance guy and all that good stuff.
Right.
Even though that 9 times out of 10, I do like to reach for something just easy like that, the enthusiast in me, which we're all in this community, we're all a bunch of fragrance enthusiasts. The enthusiast in me loves resins and incense and spices and iris and all these other things that are much more outside of the mass appealing norm.
Right.
So I really wanted to kind of encompass that and bring that ideology to life, and just kind of make something a little bit more enigmatic. That's a word I've been using for describing the scent profile. It's kind of out the norm. It's not the most familiar of scent profiles, but it's something that I felt like enthusiasts could appreciate with the scent profile.
Well, that's good. I mean, listen, bro, and I called you immediately, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I literally,
I sent you a message.
If I may,
yeah,
I was literally, my wife had just picked me up from the airport, and while I was driving, we were doing voice messages back and forth on the way home from the airport. The story he's talking about.
Yeah, it's for me, and I tell this story that at times I get bored with this, right? Because let's be honest, a good 95% of all fragrances are good fragrances. I mean, just straight up good fragrances. You can wear them if you wear them right, if you put the right amount of sprays with the right outfit, with the right personality. For the most part, they smell good. Whether you would buy them or not is a totally different, I don't buy a lot of fragrances people love, but that's just because based on my collection or my personal taste. That doesn't mean that the fragrance is bad, right? I don't think there's that many fragrances that are bad, but I become bored because it's like, even with niche fragrances or indie fragrances, it's rather the same old, or it's not transitional, good quality, but also wearable. And this Evening Mystique, brother, it is extremely wearable in the autumn time. Every time I wear this, it works. So far 3 compliments in total, just randomly out and about. One was at Walmart. The other one, I believe I was at the mall. I was going to pick up some tennis shoes, and a lady was like, you smell good. I was in some gym clothes, something simple, nothing fancy. And then the other one, I was picking up some food from the bar to take home.
It's funny how we always remember when these things happen, because you're detailed. This happened here. I was wearing this. Because we always put them in the memory bank.
Because let's be honest. There might be 5 fragrances that it's no point. If I wear it, I know what's going to happen. Amber Oud Gold Edition, I know it's going to happen. I cannot wear that in a day and not get a compliment. It's going to happen.
Everybody's got those handful, like you're talking about.
I got a handful.
It's just not happen. Yeah.
Everything else, I mean, like my boadicea is like Blue Sapphire, great fragrance, like $1,000. Depends on where I'm at and what I'm doing. Somebody will or will not compliment me. But so those, when I get compliments, they really stand out. Plus, I try to take like mental notes because doing this game, somebody's going to ask, "What do you think about the compliments?" But look, brother,
well, it's nice to be able to give them personal experience too.
Absolutely. But listen, man, I appreciate you coming on. I'm gonna bring somebody else on, man. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for actually being the person to allow me, to talk to George and said you wanted me to get these 3 creative fragrances for me to sample. So I appreciate it, brother.
It goes without saying, man. You're on that. We only send out a few. You know what I mean? Like it's whoever we want to send them to. And anytime I ever get the opportunity to do anything, you're the top of my list, my man. I want you to have it because we need more people like you in the world, and especially more people like you in this community.
Man, I appreciate you. I appreciate you,
brother. I appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you more, brother. You have a good one.
You do as well, my man.
All right. Let me bring Bilbo Fragrance, about to bring you on, brother. How you doing? Can you get on? Can you hear me? All right, Bilbo, I'm gonna take you off. You have to be on camera. You got to be on camera. We all have phones. We're all looking at YouTube. We all have camera phones because there's certain levels of trolls. My thing is this, right? And I'm gonna get to it. I don't know if you're a troll or not, or what. So I'm not gonna give you opportunity to do it, but I'm just gonna be totally frank with you, right? It's okay if you're gonna troll, that's fine, but stand on it. Put a face to it and stand on it. I'm not gonna curse you out. I'm not gonna let you walk all over the place, but it's just you just got, if you put a face to it, we can have a conversation. And that's my caveat for anybody that comes on. I see everybody saying Bilbo's a troll. He doesn't talk. All right. Well, he's kicked from the studio. Like I said, man, anybody can come on. You can say you have these fragrances, they didn't work on you. I don't need you to come on here and praise these fragrances. Just because I love them or I rank them a certain way, I don't really need the affirmation. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't. I want to have open discussions with different viewpoints and talk about a lot of things. That's where I plan on taking this channel, plan on taking the lives to. I'll still be doing my top 10s and try to do my reviews and get more into that. But I really want to get an opportunity for y'all to, because nobody, when I look at a lot of reviews, none of the people who are called the core. Yes, reviewers get together and we talk, but none of the core actually get a voice outside of typing. And I want to give an opportunity for you all to get a voice. So by all means, if anybody wants to come on, we can talk about it or we can talk about another topic. But if nobody wants to come on, I'll give it a little bit more time. We're gonna go ahead in the chat. While we wait, let me see what these. Yeah, man. I taking care of things, man. If you're not following me on Mr. Mark, if you're not following me on IG, you should. Everybody knows I answer all my inbox messages. If you follow me on IG, that is the best way to ask me a question, recommendations. If anybody's in the chat and you hit me on my inbox and I've responded to you or gave you a recommendation or answer your question, I mean, in a timely manner, leave a fire in the chat so people know. I mean, I'm an open book. I don't care what you wear. I just want you to be happy wearing it. Anything I talk about, I'm not telling you to buy any of these fragrances. I don't have affiliate links. I'm not asking George to give me any either. I actually don't want them, right? But if you buy any or all of these, it really doesn't affect me in any way, form, or fashion, right? I like what I like. I don't like what I don't like, and I don't buy what I don't buy, and I buy what I buy. You don't have to have what I have. You don't have to love everything that I love. You don't have to like it or even see it the same way. That's what makes us special. That's what makes us different. But conversation is what makes the world go round. You got to have difference of opinions, and too often we're scared because we look at everything as confrontation because we no longer don't know how to communicate with each other. And we got to get back to having tough talks, somewhat confrontational talks, but just get down to the nitty-gritty and just talk about things. What's going on, Paige? I see you. But I know everybody's not all about getting on camera, so let me just run through a couple of chats and then we're going to end it. Jonathan, I appreciate you, brother. Let me see who else. The duo. I'm telling you, Second Soul, even Mystique is a layer killer. Give it 15 minutes and a dry down killer. Also, you layering it too? Supply and demand. Supply and demand. Okay. I feel you, brother. Let me look at a little. Okay. Got robes and oh shit. Got an OG in the game, right? OG checking me out. Let me get him on. Let me see. Can you hear me, bro?
YouTube Saturday short today. We are going to be talking about Givenchy, gentlemen.
All right, so we don't have to muted that account. I take it that's a what's called account. And you listen, man. I live and I learn. With this live thing, let me just go ahead and remove it. I live and I learn for going forward. Like you got to be on camera before I even click on your name and bring you in here. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove. If that's really robes, then I'm gonna need you to come back in. If not, then like we ain't gonna play those games, right? We got things to do. We want things to talk about. We want to keep it peace. Who was the one that hit on Vanille Havane? Listen, man. Let me tell you, I hip the community to a lot of fragrances. I don't always get credit for it. I'm not always looking credit for it, especially from these fragrance houses. But you know, people wasn't talking about Vanille Havane. I put it into the Facebook groups, and all of a sudden, it started selling out everywhere. La Isla Blanca, same thing. Nobody had that on the radar. It's been out for a minute. All of a sudden, because I looked, less than 24 hours, it was sold out. You know what I mean? It happens, man. I'm gonna tell you what I like. I'm gonna tell you what I don't like. Most of y'all know when I really like something. Okay, so we're going more into the dry down as we get back on leather tobacco, and then we're gonna end this. The leather is just prominent. Tobacco slightly different. Again, I get more of a tobacco vanilla in signature tobacco, but in this, it's more of a honeyed tobacco, but not too sweet, just sweet enough. Because of so leather is an accord, right? And again, accords are a list of a whole bunch of different notes or synthetics to create a feeling or a vibe, right? Amber within itself doesn't have a scent, but we try to think what amber would smell like. So we start pulling vanilla, benzoin, resins, myrrh, labdanum. We start putting them all together to create what we think that would smell like, right? And over the years, we've created a standard for what that is and what that should look like. With this leather cord, besides birch, I feel like I'm getting a lot of labdanum, just a lot of it. And sometimes that can be leathery, very resinous. The birch is still there, but that labdanum, which is oftentimes also used in the amber cord with the honey, is almost giving me not really a honey tobacco, almost like an amber tobacco fragrance is kind of what I'm getting here. Yeah, man. Absolutely great. So being that no one wants to come on, listen, I'm gonna try to do one live a week. It might be every Friday at 8. I'm gonna try to shoot for that unless something comes up. Every Friday at 8. But if nothing else, we're gonna start ending this chat. Hold on. Oh, we got one guy coming in, Mr. Vernon Vlogs. Let me get you in here, brother.
Yo, what's going on, man? How you doing, man?
What's going on, brother? How you feeling, man? Let's talk to me. How you feel?
Hey, man, I'm just calling to thank you for your content, man. You really got me into want to do review videos for fragrances and other stuff like that. So, you know.
Hey, man, I appreciate that. My thing is, man, there's enough room for everybody, right? Sometimes there's jealousy, there's ego, and don't get me wrong, I think ego makes us great a little bit, right? Kobe was great because of ego, and you got to have a little bit of, but you also got to be a little humble, that balance, but always be yourself. You feel me? If you always yourself, it'll always go along. If you follow me on IG, if you got any questions, you can always reach out to me. Actually, what was your scent of the day today?
Man, it's this. I got it right here. It's 24 YSL.
Okay.
This stuff right here, man. This stuff, hey, it's good. It's a good woody fragrance, man. It's pretty good.
Oh yeah, how long that last on you, brother?
Me, I'm getting probably about I'm gonna say 7 to 8 hours. So
Okay.
yeah.
So that's one of them highly recommended fragrances for you.
Oh
Where
yeah.
would you wear that at? Like, what
Man,
kind
I'm
of
gonna
mood
say
you feel that is?
I'm gonna say going out probably late night, not too late, but just evening.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it, man. But yeah, I'm gonna try to do more vlogs for you, and I appreciate the love and support, brother. Do your thing, man. Take your time. Listen, go back and look at my other videos when I first
Oh yeah,
started.
I've been doing that. I've been
You know what
doing
I mean? You're gonna elevate, you're gonna change, you're gonna get more comfortable, you're gonna find your way. But man, keep pushing forward, keep giving that content. Don't never let nobody stop you, and keep your head up, brother.
Well, yeah, take it easy, man. You
All
stay
right,
blessed.
peace.
All right.
Yeah, man. I'm always show love, man. Listen, man. It's enough room for everybody. People say, reviewers money hungry. We can get into reviewers and getting paid on another stream. It's clear that I'm not tripping off of none of that, because I'll disappear for 6 months. So I'm not as consistent as I should be, but I'm gonna try to get there to give y'all more content, give y'all some entertaining stuff. Again, this was an overview of the house, but going forward, we're gonna start tackling these issues. Start tackling niche and designer. Start tackling when you should wear something. We're gonna tackle thoughts on overspraying. We're gonna tackle compliments. Do they really happen or not? We're going to even get into the dark, deeper side of reviewing. What does pay look like? People who receive free bottles. We're going to get into all of it. I'm talking about it all. I'm not ducking none of the fades, and I'm talking about everything. I'm giving all the insider trader information. So we're going to get into it. We're going to do it. Let me see. George, you know what, George, man? Why don't you come on and say something to the people? I think I got it clicked up in the link. If you still here, George, just because you show love, man, I want to get you on. Glenn, man, listen. Let me talk about Glenn real quick. Mr. Cologne 76. I feel like he still should be on. Where the time? Yeah, he's still on. Let me tell you about Mr. Cologne 76, right? If you are not, you want to know about niche fragrances that you want to know how I know about a lot of fragrances, and y'all be like, damn, Equality. You talk about a lot of fragrances like people don't know. You know where I learned a lot of that from? Instagram. Instagram. It'll show up on your feed. You will hear house, never heard of it, get a sample, look into it. It's about 3 or 4 people on Instagram. It's a group, well, it might be a little bit more, that be talking about, and that's where I pick and start getting ideas and start talking about fragrances and start buying stuff. Mr. Cologne, if you want to know about a lot of niche fragrances, indie fragrances, you need to be following them on IG. You just should. Glenn, if you want to come on, by all means, come on, show yourself to the people. If not, I get it too. George, 10 minutes pulling up in the driveway. All right, I'll give it a little bit. So we're gonna give it a little bit of time, allow George to come on. Because I definitely want to talk to, get George to come in and talk about his masterpieces. Maybe we can get some insider trader information to see what's coming up next. Because I don't think George is stopping. And to be totally honest, from the first fragrances he released to Cali's room. All right, let me go ahead and get him in. Another reviewer, we're gonna go ahead and get Cali in. What's up, brother?
What's going on? How you doing, man?
I ain't not much. Glad you can stop in. What's on your mind today?
Well, first off, thank you for having me. I appreciate that. Mm-hmm. I appreciate all the hard work you do, that you put into your videos and everything. I find it very, very inspiring. And you have that energy. That energy is unbelievable. I got to put these comments up here because I oftentimes forget that. But I know we're talking about the house of Zaharoff, and okay. I'll show you my favorite, my baby, in a second here. That may get surpassed on Monday. I don't know. But I was fortunate enough to go to Scent Explore this past December. And there was a particular house that I was looking forward to meeting, to seeing there, because you had talked a lot about the fragrances, so I wanted to get my nose. So the house is Uniquee Luxury.
Yes, love the house.
I went there to grab Crush on Me. Didn't get it. because there was 2 other fragrances that blew me away. So I had to get chocolate. Chocolate Makes Me Happy is possibly one of the best gourmands out on the market. Now, there was another fragrance there I didn't get to smell. So I had to go on to YouTube to find a review. And I had to find a review from a reviewer that I trust. So I found your review of Kutai. This freaking thing.
Talk about it.
Is unbelievable. First of all, you crack me up sometimes too. So you said don't do more than 1 spray. So when somebody tells me not to do something,
you do the opposite.
That's what I do. So I did 4. And I'm glad I did, because I got to experience some vibes of this fragrance that couldn't be detected or depicted by a note breakdown. I was getting, because it says tobacco. So when you see the note of tobacco in a fragrance, your mind can go 35 different ways, because there's so many different ways to have that interpretation in fragrance, right?
Right.
To me, this is a cigar through and through. I get the leafy cigar. I get the wrapper. It's not a Maduro. It's maybe a Connecticut, something a little bit on the lighter side, but you can smell the burning ash of the cigar also. Woody, I definitely get the woods. Whiskey, there's no doubt about it. And there, outside of whiskey, there is nothing. Where do people get this comparison in Baronda? Because I don't get that at all. Not even 1%.
No,
outside of the whiskey.
Outside of the whiskey, it is not comparable. Where is my? Hold on. So I've been rearranging my room. I'm trying to think where I have that house at right now. Oh, stand by.
You guys, you see this, right? He said he wasn't going to do this all night. You see the effect I have on people? Anyway.
Hold on. I had to take my earphones off. So if you said something, I ain't hear you.
Good. I was talking smack a little bit, but it was professional. It was professional smack talk.
All right. I know that's right. Yeah, man. This is this is to me, and I agree with you. It is to me, it's one of the best, not only best boozy scents I've ever put my nose on. Because when I talk boozy, and I judge boozy, people call Angel Shares boozy, right? When I say something's boozy, it's because I feel like I've drunk it before. I love my whiskeys. I like really authentic. I look for authentic. I know there's a boozy vibe, but when I really judge something boozy, I want to be like, yeah, I can drink this.
Yeah.
This here is double cast. Just amazing whiskey note. Superb, right? But like you said, what makes it is that dry down, that vanilla, ambery, tobacco, cigar, grown. It's woody, it's earthy. Yeah, easily.
Do you also get green facets too?
I'm not looking at notes because I don't really care about them. But if it is, I feel like it might be patchouli. Because sometimes patchouli, you get that earthiness. Sometimes it can be dirty. And sometimes I feel like, so patchouli imperial I have over there from Dior. Like it's almost damp and very green. So I feel like it, or it might be also, I believe it's in here. I could be maybe Cypriel or Divana or Divina.
There is Divana. I think there's also, is there labdanum in it maybe?
I don't know. You know what? Let me go to Fragrantica. Fragrantica be wrong. Let me go to that.
Yeah, you can't. For how many times that you smashed on them, I'm surprised they didn't ban you for life.
Yeah, because listen, man, Fragrantica be wrong. Besides the fact that sometimes
it's true.
they have the wrong notes up there. But then you go to, somebody's, when they start doing comparisons, and you will see a fragrance and they be like, this smells like YSL tuxedo. And then they'll be like, but it also smells like blue sapphire. And you be like, dude, blue sapphire and tuxedo don't smell nothing alike. Why are people hitting the thumbs up? So I just take it all with a grain of salt. So Let me see what's as this tries to come up. It seems like it's whiskey Divana, which I think that's what we might be getting. Cyprial. So right, so you have the oud accord or the agar wood. You have the Cyprial. You have Divana. No patchouli's in here, but also believe that some of that patchouli could be part of what I believe to be a oud accord. So, and it's smooth, that sandalwood and tobacco, amber, and vanilla. So that's what's in it. So I think it could be a combination of some of that. But I do get green. To answer your question, I do get green elements in it, but I get more like brown woods. If I don't say anything.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think it's more, boozy whiskey, tobacco, earthy, woody versus green. There's just these kind of, I get like pops every now and then of these green, as to your point, like kind of like green vibes throughout that come in and come out at different points. But yeah, I do think that it's dominated by more of a brown color. Like I definitely think of autumn colors when when I smell this fragrance here. But yeah, that was it was a man. I'm glad I gave it a chance, because when I first sprayed this, so I sprayed this down here where my studio is, and I sprayed it on a test strip. I did 3 sprays. That 3 sprays down here, I smelled for 2 days straight. And I was like, if that fragrance is this strong on skin, I don't know if it's going to be for me. When I put it on and the fragrance developed and the transition started to happen, I was like, oh, this is right up my, what in the heck was I thinking?
Yeah. So since we're talking about, this leather tobacco, because that's kind of what inspired this live. If you don't have it yet, you're gonna love it. So I don't know. I feel like I'm getting into the really good dry down. I should, because I've been on here for, I guess I'm going on an hour and 30 minutes, almost 30 minutes. Yeah, man, the tobacco between Signature Tobacco and this are totally different. So that's a good thing, right? Because that was always one of my beefs. And I don't really want to call it beefs, but with George, and George, go back and look at this. It's like, don't give me the same girlfriend at the end of the session, right? Like this is why men cheat, right? Like, give me something different. Like, let me cheat a little bit. Give me somebody different. You know what I mean? Let's bring somebody else into the bedroom, right? So, and this is all jokes, people. The thoughts, views, and opinions are that of my own and nobody else's. They're totally different, so I like that. But the leather here, with just a hint, and I mean a very hint of smoke in birch. And that smoke, you could almost interpret it as, just like in Kuta, it's almost like after you smoke a nice cigar and you just let it sit there and burn. You could also interpret that as that kind of feeling. Yeah, if yours is coming in, this might be the best he's done so far. But I could be a prisoner of the moment.
I'm pretty sure that I did receive an email during this live, actually, about an update. I think it's set to, here we go. I think it's set to arrive Monday. I'm pretty sure. Now it's Tuesday. God dang, George, what are you doing? Said Monday.
Yeah, but I was trolling the Facebook group for a while, asking if it was February 1st yet. I started doing that like two months ago. Right.
And every once in a while I would do it on Ross's streams too. And now that the days are, you get notifications like this, you start seeing videos circulating. Now I'm like more anxious than ever.
Glenn, I seen your comment. Curious. It's good. It's good, Glenn. It's and they're so, like, to me, they're both tobacco scents. I would call both of these tobacco scents. I know it says leather tobacco. Well, they're both really good tobacco scents, and they're both different. It's like you got two different tobaccos from the house. One's your traditional tobacco vanilla, and one's giving you just that little bit of more oomph. Extremely masculine. A woman can wear it. It's smoky. I'm getting smoke here. But anyway, Callie, so what's your favorite from the house? So we can move on. What's your favorite from the house?
Oh, has to be Signature Noir.
Oh yeah, I see. Yeah, Signature. Listen, even as I look at this list, right? Somebody, it has to go somewhere, right? I got to put it somewhere. This is really my baby. This is one of my babies, but it had to go somewhere, right? If I'm a viewer, and it just gave me the feeling, because I only have a little bit. Well, I ain't gonna say a little bit, but I got almost a little bit over half a bottle of M7. It gives me that, but I like it better.
See, I never tried M7, so maybe that's why I don't understand the I don't
the comparison.
Understand yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're not now. Like I said, sometimes you say something's comparison, people automatically think clones.
Yeah.
Like
right.
it's like, oh, there's a clone house. No, that's not the case. It's just the type of vibe, just the kind of feel to it that I get. I get that same kind of feeling.
Well, also too, when you've smelled so many thousands of fragrances. Yes, there are going to be certain fragrances that remind you of something else. That's just bound to happen. You know what I mean?
Right, absolutely.
That's just going to happen. Go ahead.
No, but that's it. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and move on, right? I said I didn't want this to be a channel where, guys just, shooting the ish. I want to give an opportunity and see if anybody, even though nobody's in the training, I'm trying to sit up here and wait for George to come on so I can George likes to talk. So get George on here, the man of the hour, and maybe he can maybe we can get some insider trader information. I know there has to be
fantastic.
Right. I know there has to be another fragrance on the horizon. So let me see if we can get that done. I'm gonna read some comments again. I appreciate you stopping by. I appreciate you showing love. And
of course,
thank you for
man.
stopping
Always.
through. All right, peace.
Absolutely. Have a good night, man.
You too, brother. Yeah, man. So let me look at some. Let me see. Senator Day Alexander too. That's one everybody say I need to try. I'm here different of opinions. I'm kind of back and forth with, if it's something I'm gonna like, or, if it's worth my money, man. I got so many fragrances up here. What I've really been on is a really good oud kit. I've been like chasing oud. Now, that's a whole nother topic, right? We'll get into it while I wait for George. George, you got like 10 minutes, and then I'm gonna end this live. Like, come on, get with it. I know what you got, comb your hair or something. Come on, man. Come on, George, put a hat on. But there's a lot of people, I think we all think we've smelled oud. And for a period of time, I thought that I had experienced oud. And I also had this thing, this kind of, I don't like oud stuff, right? And when I first was getting to the game, and then I started getting into attars, and I started actually smelling real oud fragrances. And then I realized that all these fragrances we love don't have oud in them at all. They're synthetics or they're oud accords. And the reason I say that is because oud by itself is multifaceted. GZ, all right, we're gonna get George on, but let me stay on real fast, George. Let me just get this out the way. Oud is extremely multifaceted, right? Like oud within itself goes through layers. You can wear that by itself. So when I smell a oud fragrance and it's one dimensional, I automatically say, oh no, this can't be oud. But if you really start traveling in the ouds I wouldn't recommend too many Indian ouds, but even within Indian, you have your Hindu, you have Assam, you got Kalakasi, and all of those smell different, and they go through different changes. But I would say like your Chinese ouds, your Thai ouds, and your Cambodians, those would be the ouds I would tell people. Those are really fruity, ambery, have a sweetness to it, but also depending on if it's age, if it's wild, if it's farm. There are so many different reasons why a oud will smell different. And once you start getting into like really smelling oud, it's like having a Wagyu steak. You can't go back eating steakhouse from Outback. I won't step foot in the Outback. But anyway, that's a video for a whole nother day. Let's get George on here. George, talk to us.
Well, I think this is the first time that we're actually talking to each other. So.
Yeah, in general. Yeah, people say, oh, he gave you bottles. I must be shilling. Like, this is our first time we've ever been face-to-face.
Right, or just, talking. So right. It's nice to, first of all, thank you for having me. It's nice to meet you, finally.
Right, finally.
This whole shilling thing, if you ever want to have those conversations about those things, I'm up for it, because I think I put myself out there as an owner in a house more than any other house. And I probably get the most flack for it, right? And so I would love to, if you ever want to have a conversation about these things, I'm all up for that.
Oh, listen, this I don't even want to call it live stream. I want to call it a show. I'm going to be going everywhere with it. You know how I get on my Instagram. I'm going everywhere. I'm going into monetization. I'm going into free bottles. But listen, let's not bother ourselves with those today. Right. Today we're talking about these fragrances more than less. We're going to talk about, because on other lives you talked about your other channels, your other fragrances. We're gonna talk about this leather Tabac.
Okay.
So what? And then I'm gonna try to get some insider trading information from you. Right. Okay. So leather Tabac, man. What was your thoughts on it? What made you want to go to leather Tabac?
So when Tabac first was created, which is now last year, 2021, it turned out to be so beautiful. I called Claude and I said, Claude, you know what? Can we add a leather note to this? First of all, I didn't know I liked tobacco fragrances, and when we did this first Zeg Creators, there were 6 of them, and 3 of them dropped off. There were six of them. Yeah, 6 of them, 3 dropped off. 2 of them had a tobacco fragrance. And I thought, I really like tobacco fragrances. I didn't think I would like it. So I spoke to Claude and we developed a Tabac. And then when Tabac came out, I'm like, wow, this is really awesome. I go, can we do a leather Tabac? Can we add a leather to the Tabac? And so he did, and it came in. It was beautiful. But the problem was exactly what you said. I felt like it smelled like tobacco with leather, and I didn't. And it seemed like it was an easy thing. It was an easy way.
It was a cheap way. It was kind of cheap, right?
Right. And I said, Claude, let's redo this. I want to rebuild this. And at that time, I was working on X and XXX, and I go, I kind of want the kind of fetish leather smell, and I want like a fetish tobacco. I want it to be something that's more erotic, more exciting.
Yes.
And
BDSM.
Yes,
you want BDSM. You want leather chaps, smokes, cigar smoke.
That's right.
And nonsense. Yes,
right.
yes.
And
lines of coke. It's like, no, go.
Right. And so no drugs, just that.
Yeah, I'm just playing with you.
You know, I say a ball gag, but let's do a whip. Anyway, and so the first came in, I'm like, okay, but we need to tweak it a little bit. And Claude sent another 3 modifications, and they came in. We did a Zoom with Mon and Claude, and I tell you, the moment I smelled what you have now, Mod 4, I knew. I mean, it was such a beautiful, like it told a story, and it made me emotional. I'm like, this is it. I don't want to do anything else. I don't want to smell anything else. This is it, and what you have is what it is, and it's just. It's beautiful.
Yes, I think if I was going to use a couple of adjectives, I would say, it's erotic. Erotic is a great word to use with it, right? Eroticism, but yet mysterious, right? It's just not. It's not, Prince at the VMAs with his butt cheeks out, right? It is very masculine, but like stoic. Stoic, masculine, erotic, something very like eyes wide shut kind of thing going on, right? So yes,
you got it.
I get that, and you know what's beauty? So I just say it maybe about 10, 15 minutes ago. I think I was talking to Kyle. I said I think we're in the drawdown. Well, I'm not, because now the leather is coming back. So, and I love that about you, George. I said before you arrived, and I don't know how much of the live stream you watched, but I said, I thought you kind of limit yourself to a safe zone with like the first, because you kept the like same drawdown. And I told people, I don't know how much you watched, that it was almost like having a girlfriend, like she wore something really sexy, but then when it was time to get to it, she was the same person. Like it was just the same. It dried down to the same thing, right? To the ending. And it was like,
you mean she dressed up, but then when it came down to it, it was the same.
It was the same thing.
Same missionary position.
Right.
Is
The
what
same
you want to
missionary.
say. Yeah.
Right. So it scared me, because I'm like, I want you to get out your comfort zone, right? Like, because you're very extremely creative, and I want you to get out your comfort zone, because I also think that's too safe, right? And
yeah, but you really have to think of something, okay? Because the investment to go into this is in the millions of dollars, and so I think at first I wanted to present the brand, and now that I'm able to just take a breather and say, okay, I want to go into the art, I want to go into more of it, and so this is what you're seeing with X and Leather Tabac. I want to push the envelope. There's a lot of things that I want to do. I just remember it still has to sell, right? And so I think there's a fine line between that. But I love this. I love what I do, and it's pretty cool that you understand it. And so for those men that are watching this that don't, they need to get more excitement behind their closed doors in their bedrooms or wherever they're at. People have to have more excitement in their life.
Yeah.
Because a lot of men are turned off by this, and I grew up very deeply religious, and sex was something that wasn't talked about. It was a sinful thing, and this is kind of like we're all sexual beings, and it's okay for a man to feel sexy, and so. But Leather Tabac is a you fragrance. It is an Ogun fragrance, because you have a presence about yourself. It's a very masculine presence, and and Leather Tabac fits you well.
Yeah, it to me, I think this will fit a lot of men well, right? Because there's a section of people in Fragcom that said, listen, don't talk to me about no unisex scents. Florals, you better get out my face. Like, it's rather fougères, a really nice woody chypre, or it's like, I want it dark. And to me, I think those men, actually, I know those men, if they take away the troll feelings or whatever, we're not getting into that, George, so we're not going to touch that, right? We're going to talk about the phrase keep positive. But if they take all of that away and take it for what it is, this is amazing. And I'm going to say this. I'll say one more thing. And I'm going to try to find a way to word this. There's a fragrance out. I'm just going to say it. So Enwage released a fragrance. There's a perfumer out that's a rock star. She is absolutely amazing. Cecile Zarokian. Amazing. She's a rock star. And I smelled Royal Tabac, and it's good, right? It's good, but it didn't motivate me. It didn't move me. I'm not saying it's a bad fragrance. Listen, guys, if y'all like the fragrance, continue to like it. I'm talking about me and what I would spend my money on. I'm telling you that this fragrance, the darkness, it almost gives me Enwage feelings, right? Because Enwage does this dark, mysterious thing, right? This could have easily been in the Enwage bottle and people would buy it. That's the point I'm trying to make. Royal Tabac from Enwage is good fragrance, but this is equally, if not better, in my most humble opinion, based on what I've smelled. But it goes into that Enwage kind of thing. Like, I have Overture Man. It's very dark, mysterious. This fits in that vein, George. This is very, I would also use the word lustful. Very lustful. Very, very alpha. Very, very 48 laws of power. So no, this is absolutely stunning. You did your thing. As I told Ross when he and even said about Justin, and I've never had a conversation with Justin. That's not a good thing, or that's not a bad thing. We're just all busy in our own lives. But I just wanted to put that out there because I said how much I loved his fragrance as well. These fragrances are just something that could be rivaled some of the best houses or most popular houses that's out there that's loved, in my most humbled opinion.
Thank you. The investment it's that's a whole different conversation we could have, but the investment that was put into the Z creators and into the tobacco and now leather tobacco and future ones, we're opening up the European market, and so we're filling in France, and so the large bottles are going to be made in France, and then we're going to sell in Italy, whatever. And so this is the new Zaharoff. You know what I mean? Like what you're seeing is me trying to step up my game, and actually, pulling out. If you don't mind, excuse me for saying this.
No, say it.
What comes to mind is just whipping out my dick and for the whole world to see, and I'm preparing for that.
Right.
And so. I'm nervous, but you know what? Balls out. If you do it now or you never. And so that's what you're seeing, this Zaharoff of where I'm trying to take it.
So I just smelt, I just had to spray it on because I want to relive the opening. And again, I haven't looked at any notes. I personally, I'm just at the point I don't care about it. Like I might say, okay, well, we know it's leather and tobacco. So I have an expectation of what I'm going to get with it. But in the opening, now I'm getting a different nuance. I'm getting this like fresh brightness, just this spicy freshness. I don't know what that is. I don't think it's mint. It can be. I don't think it's a citrus in there, but I'm just getting something zingy, very zingy, zesty kind of freshness in the opening that's contrasting with this rich darkness. It's very intriguing. Again, George, not to harp on it. We're not going to be on here all day. There's so many other topics where you can come on and we can talk about.
Just remember that the signature pour homme is what the basis for all these fragrances, and so the little nuances that you smell in the opening, it could be the lavender, it could be a citrus, it depends what your nose is interpreting. But I wanted that. I wanted that opening to be a clean, like approaching the, like if you're going to be doing stuff with another person and exchanging different juices and saliva and whatever we produce, you start off clean and you go into it that way. And so that's kind of.
You know what though, George? I don't. I'm gonna be honest, George. That might be your interpretation, but I get something different. I think this man starts off dirty. I think this is up against the wall kind of stuff, hands on throat. But listen, this is a kid. This is a kids channel, right? We ain't about to make this and about that, right? We gonna gonna keep it G. But no, this is I'm enjoying this. I'm getting a different nuance again.
It's very luxury, though. I feel very luxury. It's a luxury. It's luxurious.
Yes, this can rival some of the best tobacco fragrances.
Thanks, I appreciate.
I've personally smelt that I have in there. I mean, I'm literally smelling it. I'm trying to get a feel for it.
Ogun, it's interesting. I have to tell you, when Claude came out of retirement to do the signature pour homme, because he did the original back 20 years ago, the Zaharoff. And I think that instead of him working on, 50, 60 different projects at once for different companies, he's working on Zaharoff, and he does a couple other things. But I really think that as Zaharoff has, gotten as I've gotten a little bigger and expanded, in both the business side and the fragrance side, I think Claude is becoming more inspired as well. And I just think it's that energy of elevating, you know what I mean? He's elevated me, I've elevated him, and he's creating these beautiful fragrances. Like I have one that we call it Precious Treasure, and it's going to be a privé because it doesn't belong in the signature, but this is a whole other level of fragrance, and it's like just one fragrance after the next that's just so beautiful, and it's anyway.
Listen, and like I said, we ain't gonna harp on. I said I never wanted this show, right? I want to call it a show to be like guys. Guys spending time. We kind of want to get to it, but George, I will say, I'm smelling this again. I can't stop smelling it. The opening is intriguing. It's something I definitely want to wear a few times before I give it my final thoughts,
Okay.
because this is luxurious is the perfect terminology used for this. Erotic, alluring, mysterious. I wouldn't even say it's not even sensual. It's very yeah, it's very back shots, right? Right, it's back shots, right? This is whiskey. This is grown man. This is I didn't come to play with you today.
Right, that's right.
And I'm gonna tell you what to do. You've been a naughty girl. That's what this is, and I love every bit of this. Guys, it definitely get samples. Matter of fact, I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. Because I have so much of it. And George, I know you ain't much, but I'm gonna give away 20 mLs of this to somebody. I'm gonna figure out how I'm gonna do that. It's probably gonna be on Instagram. If you're not following me on Instagram, I'll come up with some kind of, or it might be on YouTube in my community tab where I want to give away 20 grams of, I mean 20, yeah, I want to give 20 grams, 20 mLs of this. Oh man. You know?
So listen, I mean, if I do you, instead of you having to pump it out of your bottle, I could send you samples, or give me the list and I'll send it, whatever you want.
All right, so we'll do that. I'm
gonna figure it out.
I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna think about it, because I want people to really listen. You can say a lot about a lot. This fragrance, I would put it up against Nishane, Amouage. I mean, these popular brands that I'm not pulling smoke. This is a good one, George. You knocked it out the ballpark. I'm proud of you. Thank you first of all for the bottles. I told people, I don't know if you was watching that, you know, this is really the first time I really overly talked about the house outside of Signature Noir. You never send me bottles with the expectation that I'm going to review anything.
Everybody too.
Yeah.
Even though people say otherwise. Yeah. So thank you. I appreciate that. I know that you're very particular, and
right.
And you're a bright light. I think that this community needs someone like you in it. And no one is going to fuck with you. And so, yeah.
I appreciate it, George. Again, and you know, I'm gonna have different chats, different conversations. By all means, I know you're gonna support and you can come on. But thank you all. Thank you for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, no. Before you go, brother, before you go, insider trader information. What you got in store for us?
For me, what's next?
No. Yeah, what's next? What's next from the house? What you got for us? Give me at least one thing.
So there is a. So I took the original signature pour homme, and I increased the oud, and so there is a very oud heavy extreme Zaharoff Signature Extreme. The packaging is phenomenal for that. Anyway, there's a black rose, so I took a different. I took a different rose. It's not the rose and rosé, and it's a wood one, and I'm more obsessed with that. That's probably what I wear the most. I did I have a gourmand.
Oh, really? Hold on. Let's go back to the ouds. Hold on. Let's go back because I feel like this is gonna be a good rose oud. Now you sparked my attention.
Okay.
You really got my attention now. What kind of oud we're talking about here? You going in Indian oud, like more of a earthy, like barnyard hay, or you doing more Cambodian, like a fruity, dark, earthy? Where are you going with?
So I'm doing more of a fruity. It's going to be it's a spicier. It's a spicier oud. So what you could actually smell the spice. It's a dark rose, and it's just incredible. I'm obsessed with it. Like I go through bottles of it, and so it's beautiful. I say beautiful meaning I don't know, but it's a beautiful fragrance, and it took a lot of work because there are certain regulations in different countries of things that I can and cannot do, and all sorts of shit. So it turned out really beautiful. It's a spicy. It's a spicier type of wood.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, understood. And I don't know if I missed it again. You come up with a name for that yet? Or you still working on it?
I have, but
okay. It's top secret. Okay.
A little bit. I mean, it's going to be black rose, but there's more to it. So
okay.
Black Rose, yeah.
All right, and you started with gourmands, and because we ain't gonna give up too much, right? Let's end on the gourmands. What you got for us, gourmands? Talk to us.
For the gourmands, so I have never, I'm nervous about the gourmand is I wanted to take from my heritage, my Greek heritage,
Okay.
that whole area, the Middle East. I took a specific type of, dessert that's used.
Bacala?
But yeah, how did you know?
Because I love it, and there's a couple of Greek restaurants here so I live in the Washington D.C. area. There's a lot of different cultures, a lot of different things. So when you said dessert and you said Greek heritage, I thought of this honeyed pastry, little nuttiness. So my mouth started watering, right? So yes.
Do you like gourmands?
I do. But the thing is with gourmands, I've gotten away from them. So I got to the point where I was like, okay, these are great, but then I turned around like Italica and stuff, and I'm like, I really never wear this, right? There's a certain time where it's almost like a sensual the environment. I don't wear them every day, and I've been more on my like chypres and fougères. Lately I've been on like these masking, but I'm always love my rose, and I've been on this oud kick. So anything oudi, rose, or just.
That's right. You like rose. You like the rose. You're gonna like the black rose.
Oh, I know I will. You're
gonna like
anyway,
it. I'm not setting you up. You'll see for yourself, and you can decide. So the thing with the dessert, they took the Claude took the beeswax, wax, and CO2 extracted the oil from that instead of honey, and so it smells like a very rich amber. You know. You could tell it's gourmand, but it's instead of honey, you think it smells like amber. And so I haven't done gourmand, and I'm worried that it might not be. I just think of whether or not people are gonna. You know what I mean? Like
because gourmands are kind of funny, right? You have people who love gourmands, but then it depends. But you know one thing about the gourmands, and I think the women, because you've dedicated a lot of these fragrances to us outside of Andrea.
Right.
Like I think it's been dedicated. I think bringing at least a really good unisex, which again, ladies, you can wear any fragrance you want to wear. No one's going to tell you what to wear. Wear what you want to wear. But bringing something that's really unisex, I think it'd be good for you, right? I think you get that female, that woman audience. In women, it's just a lot of influence with women, right? There are some things I want to say. Now, I would say with that, I think you brought that on with Signature Rosé. But I think that'll do well. Maybe not as much with the men fragrances, depending on who they are. But
maybe I think, and I have to tell you, the citrine. If people really understood fragrance, citrine is a masterpiece. To get that beautiful top note the way it is, that people did not understand that. I mean, you have the sillage whores that want it to smell like it forever, but you can't get a citrus fragrance just the way it's built. You can't get this beautiful fragrance.
Can I say something? Let me say something.
Tell me.
I am a sillage whore.
I know you are. I know you are. And that's okay.
But I understood it, right? And I told people, I said, but I will tell you this, and I said this in the
video. Get it though.
This also had a different I told people expectations could lead, and that's why the black rose in my mind, I want to say I'm excited, but also in my mind I want to say it sucks, right? Because when your expectations,
I'm scared too. That's why I said you could. That's why I said afterwards, I go, you'll decide when you get it, because I don't want to have this expectation.
Yeah, the expectation. So with this, I was like, I expected it, but I will say this: as its age, I wore this maybe like 4 days ago, give or take, and I had a different experience, and I got more longevity. It's still set close, but I got more longevity. And I told people, don't think of this bright, just outrageous citrus. It's like that in the opening, but think more of the peel, the orange peel.
That's right.
And that's kind of what you get. But look,
and it's loaded at the front of the fragrance. So that fragrance was meant to be worn a lot throughout the day. And that's something more European, more French, more Italian. And that's why this fragrance, citrine, will not be available in the U.S. after after this fall, after this spring, whatever is left of the inventory, which isn't a lot, I'll be done, and it'll only be in Italy and in France. I'm not going to have it in the States. So
well, that's another insider trader information. If you like it, it's best to go ahead and pick you up some now. No, George. So my stream's going on 2 hours. I only want to be an hour. George, no, thank you for coming on. Thank you for supporting. There'll be more conversations, and because you know I'm gonna get to it with these topics.
Okay. Thank you for having me. Thank you, everyone in the room, and many blessings. Have a good weekend.
All right. Have a good one, George.
Bye. Thank you for having me, Ogun.
All right. So that was George. We got some insider trainer information. Citrine is only going to be a Europe exclusive. If you do like the fragrance, by all means, get you some. Number 2 is we're going to try to find a way to at least give 20 ml to somebody. That'll probably be on Instagram. I don't know how I'm gonna do that. Make sure you subscribe. Look at the community tab, and I'll come up with something. I want it to be somebody who really, really wants it. You also might have to be on the Facebook group Zaya Creators, because I know at least if you there, you probably really want it. But I also want to expose it to people who might not be on that area. And then we know we have a oud rose fragrance. I'm looking forward to that. And we also have a gourmand fragrance, women. I think that's going to be amazing. And I have a feeling it's going to be not as gourmand, but more ambery. And I love ambers. But anyway, everybody, thanks for coming in. 2 hours. I did not expect this to go this long. 100 people, 150 people. Make sure you hit the like. I appreciate all your support. I'm gonna try to give y'all lives at least once a week, but follow me on IG. That'll be where you hear most of this information. With that being said, thank you for anybody who donated or super chatted, and I'm gonna leave you all the way I greeted you, and that's in the universal language of peace.